They told you there is no radiation. Well, that is just not true. Every cell phone is a radio transmitter receiver, and they all radiate right next to your brain.
A stunning new development from the World Health Organization tonight regarding cell phones. For the first time, scientists have publicly agreed with research suggesting that your calls might be causing you harm. The respected international panel says cell phones are possible cancer-causing agents. Our Rebecca Medina shares more on this developing story and why some say the ruling should not change our cell phone habits.
Talk, talk, talk. These trusty devices have become like an extra limb to some people. We spend lots of time with a cell phone so close to our brains that now the World Health Organization is saying it could be just as dangerous as chloroform, pesticides, and asbestos. The doctor who headed the research team said this in a statement. The conclusion means that there could be some risk, and therefore we need to keep a close watch for a link between cell phones and cancer risk. And here's what they say that risk looks like. Here's a brain with the cell phone off. Here's the same brain with it on. Notice the red areas at the top. It's believed the phone's radiation causes increased brain activity. But Dr. Edward Pan, a neuro-oncologist who does extensive research on brain tumors, said it isn't time to panic because there's a flaw in the data.
A lot of them have been based on depending on the person's own recollection of how long they've used it. So the information, the data is not definitive in that, so that's why it's not really solid evidence as of this point.
But Dr. Pan said it's something that needs to be watched more carefully in order to create better information. Some cell phone users we spoke with agreed.
You put it next to another phone and they buzz when they ring, or the popcorn theory when they all ring and pop the popcorn, so there's got to be something going on.
More than 2/3 of Americans have cell phones, but there's long been a question: does heavy cell phone use hurt human health? Lindsay Davis reports on a major new study which for the first time shows cell phones do seem to have some mysterious effect on the brain.
Some are calling the study a landmark event in our understanding of how cell phones affect the human body. 47 participants had cell phones placed on their left and right ears. One cell phone was activated but muted, the other was turned off. After 50 minutes, the researchers took PET scans of the subjects. Look at what they found. The image on the left shows what happened when the cell phone was turned on. The most active areas are in red. Notice the upper right part of the brain. That's the area closest to the antenna. Compare that with this image on the right of the same subject when they had their cell phones turned off. The researchers were hoping to determine if the radiation from the cell phones had any physiological impact at all.
I confess that after the findings, I changed my behavior. So now I use it on a speakerphone. I just put a wire on my earphones.
For years, studies have tried to link cell phones and cancer, but they've been inconclusive. Experts say this new study offers perhaps the first real step in the search for an answer.
This is a study that is interesting and will almost certainly provoke additional studies.
We have a responsibility to investigate whether there are or there are not long-lasting consequences from repeated stimulation after 5 or 10 years of cell phone exposure.
CTIA, the Wireless Trade Association, told us the leading global health organizations have overwhelmingly indicated that wireless devices are not a public health risk. Still, an editorial accompanying the study said that the findings warrant further investigation.
And it sure gets your attention.
Yes.
Thank you, Lindsay.
An important new alert about the safety of cell phones and the possible risk of cancer, brain cancer in particular. It comes from the World Health Organization, the powerful health arm of the United Nations, and scientists from 14 countries have reversed those years of reassurance. After a new review of all the evidence, the scientists decided to put cell phones in the same risk category as chloroform, exhaust from gas engines, and the pesticide DDT. So what has changed? How strong is the evidence? Our Jim Sciutto has spent the entire day questioning the experts. He's here now. Jim.
Well, Diane, this is a first, and it's a big reversal for the WHO, which had insisted there is no evidence of a link between cell phones and cancer. Now it says it has found that evidence, and while it's still collecting data, felt it was necessary to issue this warning now.
This is your brain with a cell phone turned off, and this is your brain with a cell phone turned on. Notice the red areas at the top. Studies had already established that radiation from cell phones increases brain activity. Today, for the first time, the WHO concluded that low-level radiation from cell phones could possibly cause cancer. A 2010 study they examined showed participants who used cell phones for more than 10 years had double the rate of a rare type of brain tumor called a glioma. Placing cell phones in the same category as lead and engine exhaust, the director of the WHO's cancer research arm said in a statement, "Given the potential consequences for public health, it is important to take pragmatic measures to reduce exposure." A small but growing group of scientists say that since the cancers involved take years, even decades to develop, there is a need to act now.
A lot more research needs to be done, but science is very slow on these matters. It took decades to move from cigarettes may cause harm to cigarettes actually cause harm.
Today, CTIA, the group representing the wireless industry, noted the WHO did not conduct any new research, adding, in the past it's given the same score to pickled vegetables and coffee. Ellie Marks blames her husband's brain cancer on 20 years of cell phone use, noting his tumor grew on the side of his head where he held his cell phone.
Do you wish a warning like this had come out years ago?
Oh, absolutely. Had he known, he never would have held it directly to his head, and he wouldn't be dying from brain cancer.
No group is recommending we stop using cell phones, but some, such as the American Cancer Society, say those who want to change should consider using headsets or the speakerphone option. We noticed that even some cell phone companies recommend keeping phones at a distance from the body. For the iPhone, 5/8 of an inch, for the BlackBerry, a full inch.
We polled dozens of brain specialists around the country to see if they take any precautions themselves, and of 92 who answered, Diane, about a third of them, 27, said they already use earpieces to protect themselves.